Yeah, I've already misted and pre-crunched the petals and they've dried, and now I'm in the process of unraveling them. I'm now going to take each of the petals, flower shapes, and I'm going to fold them in half. This is the rose that has been made with, it was my very original rose that I made donkeys years ago. And the stencil or template for this is, you can find on the NSD under the files. I've given you quite a few little templates there. Some I use to make leaves with, some I use to make flowers with, so there's a good combination if you don't happen to have punches or anything like that. So I'm here really just folding the petals and creating a line so that I have somewhere to cut, because I'm going to need to cut the little pieces out in a short while. So taking the first shape, you're going to cut out one petal and put that aside. Then the next one you're going to pick up and you're going to cut out two petals, put that one side. The next one you'll pick up and you'll cut out three petals. Yeah, that's the bottom, the very bottom layer of the rose, and I am just curling the edges slightly just to soften them and make them a little bit more frilly. If you don't have an Evo mat, then a mouse pad will work. This petal, I forgot to tell you earlier, so one of them you just put a slit in it. You don't cut anything out of it. That's the first one you would do. Again, just working the edges to make the petal softer. If you're lucky, the paper will actually split, which gives you a much more shabby look, which is what I prefer. You'll see I just keep going over and over the petals with my ball tool as I'm just trying to add more and more texture and shaping them. You can't, these are dry, so you won't do any damage to them, and all you're doing is creating extra lines, and by pulling the ball towards you into the center you're making more curves. You're like stretching and bowing the petal out. we're going to start making the bud, and for this one I'm using a stamen that I had made. I had done it by popping hot glue into some glitter, and I'm going to use that as a base to curl my petals around. Sorry, I keep going off camera. I must apologize for this. I will remake this video at a later stage for you guys. But you're basically just making a bud, and you're going to glue the edge, let it dry a little bit, because as you all know, Tombow gets very sticky. I'm pre-gluing all my edges. So this is one of the petals, the one petal was cut out, so you're going to be gluing them together now. So I'm just rolling and easing the petal around it, playing with it till I've got that bud shape that I'm looking for. And it doesn't matter if there's a gap, because I've put a little stamen in there, so it'll look pretty. This is the two petals, the two section that you cut out, that you're now wrapping around that bud. Again, I'm sorry, I'm going offline, out of camera. Very annoyed with myself for that. Curl them, fiddle with it until you're happy with the shape. So now you're putting together the two pieces that you cut out, so you end up with 4. That one's the 3. You can cut the base out if you want a flatter flower. I'm in this case not. I'm just going to keep it big. And this is the biggest of from the template. So it makes the most open of the flowers. And here I've made a mistake, which I will correct in a few minutes, where I'm actually putting the 4 petal around it and can't understand why it's not fitting. So even this flower diva gets it wrong sometimes, but I'll correct it in just a few minutes when I realize what's going on. Duh. Not working for me. Can't understand what's going on. There we are. I finally figured out what was going on. You should have pre-cut some leaves. So I've got 3 here that I've unraveled, and I've just placed next door to the flower, and I'm just going to chalk them with some coffee bean just to give them a little bit of an extra zing. And here I'm putting some diamond glaze on it, just painting it on I'm using an old paintbrush because I'm going to frost it. So this is just diamond glaze that you can use ordinary glue, or I'm sure you can use gel medium, finish glue, Mod Podge. Doesn't really matter what you use. Place it on a folded piece of paper and pour your glitter or frosting over it. shake it off. I'm just adding a center line to the petals. And then I'm attaching the leaves to the back of the rose. So my glue has not been, I did not put it on to let it dry, so it doesn't want to stick immediately, which is a little bit irritating. That's why I like to pre-glue so that by the time I come to stick, it's ready to stick. Which is what I'm doing now. I'm just letting it rest for a bit. I'll come back to it. So again, I'm putting a little bit of diamond glaze onto the edges. So I wanted to add a little bit of glitter frosting to the petals as well. And then I repeat the process onto the paper and sprinkle with glitter.